New York City is rightfully viewed as a leader in many different industries, including media, business, Broadway. But when it comes to technology, some advocates and industry insiders say that the 5 boroughs, the government in particular, is falling behind in using artificial intelligence to make city bureaucracy more efficient. My next guest published an op-ed in the New York Daily News recently that lays out a roadmap for city government modernization and suggests what the incoming Mamdani administration should do to move the city's technological infrastructure forward. Andrew Rocher is the founder and CEO of Civic Hall, a center for tech innovation and education based here in Manhattan. He is also the chairman emeritus of the New York Tech Alliance, a nonprofit that supports the tech industry. Welcome to the program. Always good to see you.
Good to see you, Errol.
So this op-ed, you talk about areas where a lack of good technical foundations and good systems has real-world costs. I want our viewers to understand this is not some abstraction. And you cite the case of a mother who's applying for child care assistance, who has to print forms, travel across boroughs, and then wait weeks for confirmation, when all of that can and should be done online in a matter of minutes.
Think about the small business owner and how long he has to wait for getting permits and filing for permits. What is the economic cost of that? Or for the elderly elderly couple who are applying for housing assistance, but the data of different agencies don't talk to each other, so they miss out on the opportunity. You know, this new mayor is the first digitally native mayor the city of New York has ever had. Which is an extraordinary opportunity because I believe our mayor-elect actually understands the power of technology in communication and in potentially creating efficiencies for the citizens of New York. But unfortunately, he's about to get into a 1998 Pontiac with bald tires, a leaky gas tank, brakes that don't work that great, a speedometer stuck on 5, and a steering wheel that comes off the column when he turns it. So he might be able to get himself into the 2005 Camry, but only if he really understands the structural issues that are preventing innovation from happening.
Well, this was a central promise of Eric Adams 4 years ago. I mean, I do remember that. He talked about creating, at a minimum, a portal. I forgot what he called it.
My City.
Yeah, so that people could sort of access all city services in one place. Even that was a heavy lift, and they didn't quite lift it. What have we learned from that?
Well, what we learned is that talking about technology by itself in a vacuum doesn't create innovation. It's these other structural issues. So, for example, the procurement rules lock out innovation for small startups to be able to sell to the city, or civil service rules or hiring practices prevent us from hiring the talent that the private sector easily hires to be able to work on these problems. And agencies hoard data, so there's no communication between those. The bureaucracy or the red tape associated with the rules of the way the city operates are still stuck in the analog era. And so they don't allow for a lot of the digital transformation that should occur. And this is why this is really an important, gnarly problem that affects every part of the city's infrastructure. And just think about the mayor's desire to create a mechanism to allow mental health professionals to be able to respond to the challenges that we have with our mental health crisis on the streets and not having the police to do it. You've got to build an infrastructure for that. It has to be tied to 311.
Sure.
It's not going to be done by simply waving a magic wand.
Yeah.
So this is going to require very careful thought and some time, but the mayor has to recognize the challenge that he's facing, and if he does recognize it, he has an extraordinary opportunity to reinvent New York.
You mentioned other cities seem to be ahead of New York or doing some interesting things that maybe we can learn from. Let's put it that way. Denver, I think you said, Boston, a couple of other places.
Greece, for example, has a My City portal where all government services are available through one app. Cities are using technology to speed traffic, AI to speed traffic, for example. This is not rocket science in other parts of the world.
Right.
One of the challenges, I think, for New York is that it was a city that succeeded in the industrial age. And even though we have a tech sector that's now booming, the city of New York government has not caught up. And so now we have an opportunity to do it. And to save money, to deliver the promises that this mayor-elect is offering in New York, it's time that the mayor, the controller, the speaker, and the public advocate come together to really look at what are the structural reasons why the bureaucracy doesn't allow innovation to take place.
Is this one of these rare occasions when what we actually need is a blue ribbon commission? Not to foist off the issue, but to sort of cut across different areas.
So my op-ed made the following recommendation, which is that the mayor should appoint a chief digital officer, a chief information officer, who reports directly to him, to the first deputy mayor, and to the Office of Management and Budget. And every other CIO and CTO in the city at all the agencies report to their commissioners and to the CDO or the CIO. It's a matrix. Very similarly, the way the lawyers at all the agencies report to their commissioners and to the corporate counsel, or the communications people at various agencies report to their commissioners and to the city's communication people. And then you have an opportunity to basically build sort of an understanding of what's happening across the city and create standardization, create rules, and get people all on the same page, particularly with AI. But in order to support that process, we should have 6 or 7 people who have done large-scale digital transformation, maybe in the private sector, 6 or 7 former government officials who actually know what these gnarly problems are, and spend a year actually together with the other major offices of the city, really looking at these structural problems. I'll give you one very strong example, which is civil servants. We're not providing professional development for them so they can understand how to use AI to help them do their jobs.
Right. Right.
In fact, I was going to suggest, if I had a chance to talk to the mayor during the campaign, that he should announce a public education campaign for AI in which we educate the public about AI, how to recognize deep fakes, how to use it. Will it take my job? This is a technology that's transformative, and for New York City government not to be utilizing it at its best potential and also protecting New Yorkers from its worst, then we're failing.
On the protection side, Assemblymember Alex Boris has introduced something called the RAISE Act that would require the biggest AI companies, I guess it's aimed at the private sector, to publish and follow safety and security protocol, do risk evaluation, handle privacy concerns and other things that people are worried about. Is that would that be? Is it too soon to start putting those kind of gates around it?
No, actually, I think government does have to play a role in regulating AI, and right now we have a challenge between the Trump administration and the states in terms of trying to regulate this. But if the bureaucrats in government don't actually even understand the technology themselves, how are they going to write the policies? So we have an education process we have to go through.
Yeah.
But let me just say one more thing. There's a potential for AI to do lots of bad. The only way to really fight bad AI, if you lacking regulation, is to build lots of good AI. And for government services and for non-for-profits, the opportunity for them to use the same tools that the capitalists are using on AI gives us an opportunity to level the playing field and to help us shift power.
Give me an example of where, I mean, I've seen one example of artificial intelligence. We keep saying AI, artificial intelligence used to improve people's lives in government. And I believe it was through the community college system where there was an AI program that was looking at different databases and assembling profiles of students, and it could flag when a student looked like they were at risk of dropping out, long before anybody else could detect it, because they were using attendance and income and whether or not they'd done well on their previous semester's classes and that sort of a thing. That struck me as a pretty good use, but I think most people use AI and it's really just like sort of a smart search program.
Yeah, they use it. Most people think of AI as ChatGPT, you know, being able to ask it questions and it gives you a response. But AI is far more powerful than that. I'll give you an example here in New York. The New York City Department of Health collects millions of pieces of data out of the sewer system every day trying to track pathogens, the next COVID, the next bird flu, measles. They're trying to build a predictive models where they can use AI to give them an advanced warning, an earlier warning system for those kinds of pathogens. Sure. But they have data scientists and data architects working in the Department of Health. We don't have data architects and data scientists working at other agencies.
Right.
That, you know, talking about AI is like talking about the penthouse. If you don't have a foundation and you don't have an elevator, what's the point of talking about the penthouse? Okay.
Well, this is some food for thought for one of the many transition committees that are supposed to be laying out what this next administration is going to do. But this is a great topic, and we'll be following up on this. Thanks so much.
Thanks for inviting me.